Good morning, children. Welcome to science class. So, in science, we are learning block 22, which is physical changes. Yes, so in this, we have learned what do you mean by physical changes. Yes, and in that, what are the different types of physical changes, that is reversible and irreversible, isn't it, children? In that, we have learned some of the process we have in which we have physical changes and which are reversible, like melting, boiling, evaporation, freezing, condensation, sublimation, all these, isn't it, children? So in this, now today in the last topic, that is in topic 3, we are going to learn about expansion and contraction. Okay, expansion and contraction. Yes, so please open your science content books, children, and turn to page number 138. Okay, so what do you mean by expansion? So if you take a balloon, children, if you blow into it, it starts to expand, it becomes bigger and bigger. That is called expand. Okay, so why? Because we are filling in the air, which is in the form of gas. As the molecules are, as the small particles are far away from each other, the balloon expands. And if you remove the air comes out, the small particles comes out, isn't it? Then it becomes empty and it becomes small, like this, isn't it, children? So that means we, depending on the particles inside it, the state of the matter changes, isn't it, children? And if you see, most of the metals, most of the objects, we can say, when we heat them, they expand. Okay, most of the substances, most of the objects, when we heat them, they expand. Why? Because the particles which are in that object, in that substance, expand like this. Okay, the particles expand, and the there'll be little for the particles will be moving apart from each other. As the particles will be expanding, all the particles will be expanding, isn't it, children? They also require, as they are expanding, they require more space, isn't it, children? So because of that, whenever we heat a substance, it expands, and when it cools down, when heat is removed, when it cools down, it contracts. Okay, children, so like this. So here you can see it's cooled down, it's cold. So the particles are very very closer to each other. Here the particles are expand, and they are requiring more space, so that they are moving away from each other. Okay, children, so how, there are some examples where you can see this. Metals like gold, silver, iron, mercury, all these expand when they are heated, and they contract, they come closer to each other on cooling. Okay, children, that's why earlier, when people used to use the thermometer, in thermometer we can see mercury in it, because little heat, if it experiences, it expands. Okay, that's why mercury was used in the thermometers to measure the temperature of a person. Okay, now we have digital thermometers, but before that, in your content book you can see, yes, you have some measurements, isn't it? 36, 35, 37. So in that, there is a small tube like structure, isn't it? So in that, they used to fill with mercury. So whenever it gets contact with any hot substance, that means if a person is having fever, he'll be hot, isn't it? So whenever this thermometer is kept in the mouth, it experiences the heat of that person, and and the mercury expands. Okay, children, so in that way it works. And also, if you see, if you take a bottle of jam, it becomes very difficult to open it in the winter. Why? Because the lid, the metal lid contracts in the winter. Just now we said, when it cools down, it contracts. So in winter, the climate will be cold, isn't it? It cool. So because of that, the lid contracts, and it becomes tight. That's why what they do, they heat the lid. People, what do they do in winters? They heat the lid so that it becomes expand, so that it expands and it can be opened easily. Okay children, so this expansion and contraction are also the physical changes in a substance, and these can be reversible, isn't it? When you heat it, they are expanding. When you cool it, they are contracting. That means it is changing. We are coming back to the original state. So that's why the expansion and contraction are the physical changes which are reversible. Okay children, and if you see the did you know children, here water shows unusual behavior. It expands on cooling and therefore ice floats on the water. You can see rivers which are filled with ice, and they'll be floating. The ice will be floating, isn't it? That's because of this unusual behavior of the water. Okay children, so this is our topic for today children. I have given few keywords in your daily schedule. Please learn them, write it in your classwork, and also underline in your content book. And if you find any other word which is difficult for you, you can include in your keywords. Okay children, coming to your question answers. Why do things expand when heated and contract when cooled? So that the things expand. Why? Because the particles inside that object, they gain energy because of the heat, and they, as they absorb that energy, they expand and they move. They need more space and they move around to make themselves comfortable, so they move away from each other. So this makes that expand. And when it contracts, they lose the energy. The energy is lost, isn't it? So that's why they come closer to each other. That's why the things contract. Okay children, so write this answer in your classwork and please learn it children. Coming to your homework, complete the volume book children. Volume book 3, page number 31, S4, expand or contract. Okay, so with this we have completed with our block children. So in the next class I'll meet you with the new block, which is rocks and minerals. Okay, so see you in the next class children. Bye.